It's day 17 of YT History Month. We spent the past 2 weeks discussing the foundations of whiteness and white heroes, but if you're squeamish, you may want to sit this one out because this week is all about white violence. And today we're starting with something so grotesque that it sounds like it's right out of a nightmare or a scary movie, except it's history. This really happened. So, we all know that white people would have black people make their dinner, but did you know that they would also have black people for dinner? And I don't mean that metaphorically. There are documented cases of white people literally eating black people. And this wasn't just survival cannibalism, it was deliberate. There are reports from the transatlantic slave trade of enslaved people being butchered and eaten. Also in the Caribbean, when there were livestock shortages, enslavers would just kill and cook the people they claimed as property rather than go without meat. Furthermore, black people's skin was turned into leather for bookbinding, shoes, and clothing. Black people's hair was used to stuff mattresses and furniture, and black people's teeth were pulled to make dentures for white people, just like the ones George Washington wore, despite the myth that they were wooden. Cadavers for research were almost always stolen black bodies, but you didn't even have to be dead to have your body used for medical experiments against your will. We already talked about J. Marion Sims and how he tortured black women without anesthesia for gynecological breakthroughs. But he wasn't by any means alone. The Tuskegee experiments allowed black men to suffer and die from untreated but curable syphilis, just so doctors could observe the disease's progression. And have you ever heard of a Mississippi appendectomy? Well, black women were routinely sterilized without their knowledge so much that the practice got that nickname. But this wasn't even just in the South. In fact, 32 states had federally funded sterilization programs throughout the 20th century. California alone took away over 20,000 black men and women's ability to procreate, again, without their consent. Don't even get me started on black people caught up in the criminal justice system. Just Google Albert Kligman, who from the 1950s to 1970s tested a multitude of dangerous drugs and chemicals on black inmates, including Agent Orange. Even as recently as 2019, black inmates were given the ineffective livestock dewormer ivermectin during the COVID-19 pandemic. So no, these are not just footnotes in history. They are the foundations of American medicine and science, and the consequences continue today in the medical racism black people still face, from our pain being ignored to our mortality rates skyrocketing. And then people wonder why black folks have so much medical skepticism and vaccine hesitancy. And I hate that we do, but I fucking get it. White supremacy has always gone out of its way to eat black people alive.